Hi, I'm Dr. William Jackson from Skillful Means. I'm also a psychologist and former Buddhist monk. Today I'd like to talk to you about integrating mindfulness in 3 different ways to have a healthy meditation practice, healthy, insightful mindfulness practice in your life. So when I used to go to Burma or Myanmar for retreats, my meditation teacher would often say to me, "Be Burma." So I'd come into his meditation hut and asking for guidance. And I'd say, "Oh, my meditation is so difficult and it's so hard to sit focusing on the breath." And he would say to me with this loving, open heart, "You complain a lot." I'd say, "I know, but it's so hard to go back to the breath. It's just so boring." And he'd say, "Yes, your mind is boring. Be Burma." And at that time, I would get a little bit frustrated because ultimately what that meant is go back to your meditation hut and focus on the breath, which I would do. And over time, I understood and started to get benefit out of meditation and really started to enjoy meditation. And not just that, I really felt like I could apply meditation in my life, in walking meditation, eating, sitting, all the different areas of life. And it was actually quite easy in that area of the world, because mindfulness is really integrated into people's way of living, especially in the monasteries, right? In the Buddhist communities. It's been integrated for thousands of years. So everything, the whole cultural system just sort of revolves around it. People come and bring you food as a monk, you beg for it, you have a hut that's, in one area of the forest. It's all set up to be mindful. But I was coming from this Western sort of perspective where I just needed to be entertained all the time. And I complained about things not being good enough and so on and so forth. This privileged way of living. And it took me a while to adjust in that setting. And then I thought, wow, I'm a mindful meditation master. And I came back to my monastery and I fell into all the old habits. So even getting on the plane, I sat on the plane heading home, and there was the TV right in front of me, which I turned on sort of instinctively. And there was Transformers playing on the TV. And I watched my mindfulness of feelings and thoughts, my non-judgmental nature, sort of slip away into explosions and Transformer things happening. And also when I got back to the monastery, I watched myself as I fell into all these old relationship dynamics and getting irritated with this thing and that thing and so forth. And I didn't realize at that point in my meditation practice that that's part of the practice. Just being aware of yourself, making all of those old mistakes, just the awareness is really important, is actually a step forward. And that also got me frustrated that I didn't realize that. But through training over years and trying to integrate this into my way of living, after I became a layperson again, and trained in psychology and in medical approaches to mindfulness, I found that there's really kind of 3 ways of integrating mindfulness into your life. So the first one, we're all probably familiar with it. That's sitting on a meditation cushion, focusing on the breathing, or doing loving kindness meditation. It's this: taking a chunk out of your day and exercising, right? You're changing your brain, and that starts to integrate into your everyday life because you carry your brain around with you wherever you go, right? So if you're changing that muscle, you're changing the structure of the brain through the practice, you're changing how you're interacting with people in the world, how your brain is functioning. The second way is often what's called an informal practice. This is doing mindfulness while you're brushing your teeth and feeling sensation, and just feeling sensation of brushing your teeth, and letting go of thoughts and coming back to that, right? In the same way that you let go of thoughts and come back to your breathing in sitting meditation. Or if you're washing dishes, you feel a sensation in your hands, you stay with that. If you're folding laundry, you feel those sensations, you stay with that, so on and so forth. So that's the second kind. The third kind, I think, is not taught so often intentionally. And a lot of the traditional teachers just expect you to integrate this into your life, and it will naturally happen as you continue practicing. But we have busy lives and we're really distracted a lot. So I think being a bit more intentional about this third way is really important. And this third way is using mindfulness to gain insight in your life. It's kind of the whole reason that we practice. We often get stuck in just the routine of sitting meditation or walking and doing mindfulness in your daily life that we forget to actually use it intentionally to understand ourselves better. It's like playing scales all the time on the piano, but never actually playing a song. You're just practicing all the time. And I think that wears people out. People get bored with the meditation practice if they're not really getting those insights and changing their life. So here's a practice. It's just a couple minutes that will help you to integrate mindfulness into your life, to gain insight into your life using your mindfulness muscle and your mindfulness practice. Okay, so number one, really simple. I'd like you to bring to your mind an area of life that needs some insight, an area of your life that needs some attention. So to give an example, this could be a recent social interaction that you had that was like intense and you need to sort of a personal debriefing. Or it could be a relationship dynamic that you keep finding yourself in with a spouse or a sibling or a parent or at work or something like that. Or it could be a habit of behavior that you don't like, or a habit of behavior that you do like, that you want to keep going. Okay, so a recent social interaction that's sort of intense and need personal debriefing, a relationship dynamic that you keep finding yourself in, or a habit of behavior. Okay, so I'd just like you to think of one now, and you can even write it down or open up a tab and type it in to a Google Doc or something like that. But I'd like you to have it there. So I'm going to write one down myself. And just choosing one. And if you want, you can pause the video and, write that down a little bit more. Get clear on one. Okay. So number two, the second piece of this is what I'd like you to do is bring this area to mind and allow the content. Allow the thoughts around this area. Allow the feelings around this area. And we're using our mindfulness muscle to be non-judgmental, to just let the thoughts and feelings come up and be curious about them. In the same way that you don't beat yourself up for your nose smelling bad things, smelling stinky things. In the same way, if you have bad thoughts or judgmental thoughts that do come up, okay, allowing those to be there, not beating yourself up for beating yourself up, if that makes sense. Okay, so just allowing thoughts and feelings to come up around this area of your life, and I'm going to give you a minute of silence to do that. Oh, and when your mind floats away somewhere else, coming back to this area of life. And if you notice yourself, playing out scenarios of how you're going to get back at a person who said something to you or whatever, letting go of that, coming back to this area, just letting thoughts and feelings arise. So noticing the content, being curious about it rather than getting caught up in it. And I'd like you to write down also some of the things that come up. So if you notice a feeling of helplessness, noticing that. If you notice anger, okay. If you notice a feeling of not being enough, if you notice memories about this moment, you can go ahead and pause the video and write down some of those too. Okay. Now, the fourth step. Now you've just gained some insight about yourself, right? You've understood something more about your personal needs. If you felt helpless, well, and you didn't like that, you have a personal need to feel more capable. And maybe you can express that to somebody. If you notice anger come up, well, anger often is there to try to protect you. You're using it to push something away or something that's too intense for you or protect yourself in some way. You might have felt unsafe and you have a need to feel safe. So what could you say or do in a situation to feel a little bit more safe in the future? or if you need to say something that didn't get said, or express a need, or take an action that you weren't able to do before, well, now you've just gained some insight about this area of your life and about your needs, and you can sort of be proactive about addressing those needs for yourself, okay? And moving towards well-being, moving away from suffering, moving towards a greater well-being. So this is a way that you can use mindfulness to gain insight into your life. This was like a 5-minute exercise, but you can use this on a daily basis to exercise that mindfulness muscle and really make this a habit of responding to stressful situations. Okay, so again, these 3 areas: doing a daily meditation, doing these sort of mindfulness minis, brushing your teeth and whatnot, and then using mindfulness to gain insight into important areas of your life. So if you liked this exercise, if this is something that was helpful to you, I am so excited, and I really love doing this. I love hearing about people's insights. So you can go ahead and email me, william@skillfulmeans.life, if something was helpful. Or if you want to take one of our courses, you can go ahead and check out our website, which is skillfulmeans.life. And I'd love to see you in one of our free weekly classes or weekend courses, or signing up for one of our trainings. So enjoy your meditations, enjoy your insights, and hopefully I will see you soon. Happy meditations.